Good afternoon. Happy Monday. All right. Hope everybody had a great and prosperous weekend. And just like with any of these other YouTube videos, we want to say, well, I want to say personally, thank you for everybody that's already subscribed and watching the videos. And, we're going to keep pushing on. But with that being said, I would like you to, if you haven't already, like, comment, and subscribe so that way, I can see, how people are feeling out there about what we're talking about. So as you saw from the title, today we're going to talk about the N word, right? The vaunted N word, right? So, probably back in 1988, when I was still going to high school, the first time that, now I'm not saying it wasn't in music, because just to edify people a little bit, back when hip hop music would come out, they had a certain amount of curse words or derogatory words that you can use on one album total. So you may only be able to use this word for the entire album, or just a certain amount to, because it was a lot more censorship until like we see now, even on the streaming services, where you go to download a song and you'll see the explicit label, parental advisory on there, because there were certain words that they started to allow more for less censorship with the arts, and music being a big part of the arts. So that was being done. So going back to 1988, a lot of friends of mine, we started listening to NWA. So NWA, even still now, I still listen to it, and the one thing I felt like it made me feel something. You know what I'm saying? Like F the police, and you know what I'm saying. Yeah, it's just with an attitude. My own way of blurting it out, because we try not to curse around here. So just listening to that kind of music made me hyped up and made me. But once again, at the time I was 14 years old. So I also looked at things from a kid's perspective, or a young guy's perspective, young boy's perspective. So now, and it's funny how even when I look back on it, I know saying the N word was wrong, or saying, maybe I didn't think it was wrong. Maybe I just thought that, I knew it was wrong, but I was just like, these guys, it felt revolutionary to me. But of course, we know that the word has now been used, or is used as a term of endearment for us, when in actuality, it never started that way, and it wasn't intended to be that way. All right. So even now, we'll see how things have turned around, where you'll see a lot of different Instagram clips, or a lot of YouTube clips or whatever, and it'll say YNs. So basically, young niggas, right? And so now that's kind of like the new, in style thing to put down there, with a picture or an emoji of a ninja, right, next to the YN. So if you happen to see that, that's what YN means, for some of those that don't understand. But let's take it back a little further to a little bit of history. And it was this guy named John Roth. And all this stuff, once again, is Googleable, right? A guy named John Ross. He was, I believe, a farmer, a merchant, and bigger though, an English explorer. So I don't know how deeply he was into the actual getting of slaves, but he actually would call the slaves that came from Africa to Virginia, he would call them niggers, right? So not Niggers, but Negars, right? So almost like niggers, and we know it's derived from, I think, Spanish or Latin as negro, meaning black. But he described it and said, we have the niggers coming in, right? So as far as black slaves coming in, so that was back in 1619. Also, back in those days, they would have, like, if a person had run away from the plantation, or they were looking to capture somebody that was black that did something wrong, they would have posts up that said, run nigga run, except with the hard er, so Nigger, so run nigga run, right? So now, of course, our latest iteration of it has been Nigga, right? So that's more of where, I kind of want to talk about as far as our iteration of it and how we use it, and why we use it, and why it has become a term of endearment. So I even remember maybe about even 15 or so years ago, I was watching an interview where Jay-Z was being interviewed in the Marcy Projects by Oprah. And I even recall Oprah saying how she still didn't agree with him and how it made her uncomfortable with his usage of the word. And once again, that's something you can Google and go and look back over. But even him, he gave his reasoning that I don't quite remember, but it's still, although I was a huge Jay-Z fan, it still never answered the question of what Oprah was saying. Like, why do we need to use it? And so I sit back and think to myself, why do I use it? I guess maybe because it's a way that we totally understand each other. So when we start talking about it and when we say, so like if I'm having a conversation and I'm like, yeah, you know what I'm saying, the boy such and such and such, and this Nick, you know what I'm saying? Yo, man, I'm so sick of these Nick, right? So, and I'm sure some of you out there find yourselves, doing the same thing too, right? So, but we've used it so freely, it's almost like, how something gets out and you can't put it back, right? Like we know that it's wrong, but we keep doing it. Even still, like where I used to work at, because I'm gonna tell you a story in a second, where I used to work, this one particular psych hospital, a lot of people, I never did it, right? Really. But I would hate when I saw it done. We'd be around nurses, doctors, different techs like myself, different people doing stuff. And the nigger, or nigga, I'm sorry, was just flying all over the place. You know what I mean? Like nigga, 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 everywhere. It was all over the place. And it was done primarily by us. And it went to, and it was done around anybody. It didn't matter what race, what color, and even around some of the non-black people who were white, Asian, they would kind of, start turning red. Now, and to their credit, they wouldn't, say, hey, look, why are you using that word? Or, that's the wrong word. They just would like, hey, back off and not say anything. But now let me give you the little story. So growing up in Philadelphia and in the northeastern part of the country, I rarely ever, even when I went to school in Virginia, I never have been called the nigger with a hard ER. All right. So any of us out there who can relate, who that's happened to, you'll understand what I'm saying. So one day, I was just getting some stuff together at the, psych hospital I used to work at. And so we were trying to get some breakfast and stuff together for people, make sure that everybody had their medication, did all this stuff. So I had this one white young lady who was there. She may have been, I don't know, I may have been 32, 33-ish at the time. And I think she was probably about 24, 25, but she was a teacher. And she had her first psychological break. So anybody that's worked in the psych field understands and knows what I'm talking about. But, she had a breakdown and she had to be involuntarily sent to the psych hospital by her parents. So, she would, walk around the unit. Initially, she was, she seemed okay. And, she wouldn't say much. So me, trying to be nice, trying to be a good person, I went over and I said, hey, listen. And I can't even remember her name. But let's just say her name is Joanne, right? So I went over and I said, hey, Joanne, are you okay? Everything okay? So she would give me like a blank stare and go in her room. So I think lunchtime was coming up and we're trying to get the lunch together, breakfast or lunch. And so she comes back out again. And I said, hey, how you doing, Joanne? Look, we're getting ready to serve food, come on into the room, the cafe, so you can sit down and eat. And she stopped, said to me, and looked dead at me and said, I don't understand. If I told you that I didn't want anything earlier, I don't want anything now, nigger. And then walked into the room. And my heart dropped. It's funny how even as I just did that, looking, talking to you, it just dropped again, right? I had never in my life, in that 30 something years that I had lived, been called a nigger, especially by somebody who was a non-black person, right? Never been called that before in my life. So I was blown away. And it made me immediately dislike her because unfortunately, like what goes on now, when I was a kid, I was, forced to sit down and watch Roots. I had to understand the meaning of trying to be a black person in this country. All right. And even in schools, Black History Month, although they kind of went over the same stuff over and over again, but Black History Month was a must. It was a need. It was more than just a thing, right? It wasn't a theme month as Donald Trump tries to call it. It was a thing. It was our thing, right? And I don't know, until that point, because I had only seen it on TV, I had known about it. I had heard other people say that they've been called that. But when I actually got called that, I was blown away. I was blown away. And I said, wow, I wonder how, and I ask people this sometimes too, other black people, and I say, have you ever been called a nigger, the hard ER by somebody else? And a lot of times, most of them, especially from up here, like I said, in the northeast section of the country, no, they've never been called that, or mid-Atlantic, whatever you want to call it. They've never been called that. And I'm like, I got called it now under different circumstances in a psych hospital, but still I was called it. And I was like, yo, it made me feel crazy. So then I transitioned over and I said, and oh, by the way, it still never stopped making me say the word nigga. But what changed me drastically, and the reason why I like to just talk about different things is because you never know how a certain change is going to come in you based off of what somebody else does. So one day I go into a bowling alley, right? And, I may have been a little younger, maybe in my 20s. And I I may have been around the same age. But so I go into a bowling alley to a bowling party. And so, they were serving food and everything like that. And I go over to the one guy, another black guy, whatever. And so, he made the plate. He made it extra husky with more, a bunch of stuff on it and everything. And so I stuck my hand out and I was like, yo, thanks, my nigga. And he was like, no. I want to say, I think he was a Mason brother. I'm not a Mason, but I think he was. And I think, and it made me stop because I was thinking to myself like, wow, you know what I mean? I just kind of played myself because I know at this point, 30 something years old, that's not the way grown men should greet each other, right? But I did, right? And so I bring that up because it really made me stop. And he even said to me, he said, yo, man, he told me all this stuff, you're a king, you're this, you're that, you're a positive brother. Didn't know me, you're a positive brother. And that's the last word that we need to use. And I thought to myself, and I said, Joe, that was crazy. And I'm telling you, that was almost 20 years ago. And I remember it because it did. It made me think a little deeper. Now, once again, still a work in progress with it, but I'm gonna tell you how it changed me. So I had to find something to replace, especially when I spoke to people, my nigga with, right? So shout out to my homie Ron Allen. Shout out to my man Kenny Brown, Ken Raw. The one thing that they would always say is that, and I gotta give them credit, when we see each other, they'd be like, instead of what's up, my nigga, they'd be like, what's up, good brother? What's up, good brother? How you feeling? How you feeling? How you doing? How you feeling? Or either, what's up, young fella? You know what I'm saying? But the what's up, good brother stuck with me. So for years now, that's what I'll do. So even when I got to greet people that are close to me, so even if it's just another brother in the street that I got to say it to, I'll say, you know what? What's going on, good brother? How you feeling? Or, you know what I'm saying? Somebody go, shake their head. What's up, good brother? How you feeling? Because it does two things. One thing is that it stops me from using that word, especially with people I don't know. And especially when I know that if another person said it that wasn't the same race as me, I don't care whether it's a hard ER or not a hard ER. I'm going to take offense to it. And like I said, if somebody that was white or another race that called you that, trust me, you will take offense to it. I know how people like to say, oh, it's only a word, it's only a word. In the English dictionary, it says nigger is an ignorant person. No, it's not. A nigga is the word nigger, whatever it is, and any iteration breakdown of it is meant to demean black people. It's meant to demean black people. So we ain't got to hide behind that crap anymore. Because I used to hate even having this argument with black people about it. It's not that a nigger is not an ignorant person. An ignorant person is an ignorant person. Okay? You don't have to use a name to it. That's why it's such a chastised name in this country, because it is meant and tied to lynching, raping, assault, hangings, which led to murder. A lot of good reasons not to use it. All right. So, but like I said, me, and I'm sure a lot of us are, in the state of trying to work it out, even still as old as I am. But the one thing I do know is that it's something that we can all do. But think about it. Let me know what your thoughts are. And until next time, good sister, good brother, I'll talk to you. We'll wrap tomorrow. Have a good one.